それでは開始時間となりましたので、
So it is now time. We'd now like to start. And thank you very much for giving us your time. We will be providing a joint explanation about the Advanced Human Resource Development Fellowship as well as the Cross-the-Border Pioneering Doctoral Research Project. And I'll be serving as the MC today. My name is Matsumura from the Promotion Office for Education Programs. And we have simultaneous interpretation today. You will be able to listen to the explanation in English. Please utilize the interpretation button on the Zoom screen to listen in English. So this is the agenda for the day. First, we will have the Vice President, Professor Kanda, to say a few words. And then after that, we will have an explanation about the Advanced Human Resource Development Fellowship, and then an explanation about the Cross-the-Border project. We will explain about how to apply for the fellowship as well as the project. Some parts are common, therefore we would like to explain on what points you need to be careful about. And then we will have a Q&A session. If you have any questions, please send them in even during the presentations. Please send in your question through the Q&A function of Zoom. You can send in questions in English as well. So first, we would like to start with some words from Vice President for Teaching and Learning, as well as the Project Officer for the Cross-the-Border Project, Professor Manabu Kanda. So, Professor Kanda, please. Yes, thank you very much. I am Manabu Kanda. I would like to say a few words on opening this session. So for the doctoral students, we want to make sure that you can study and focus on your studies and research. So we have 3 support systems at Tokyo Tech. And from 2021, we have this 2 fellowship as well as project from the Ministry of Education as well as JSPS. And we will be providing financial support to the doctoral students. So to give you the background, we want to make sure that we can eliminate any instability that you may find in your economy as well as any uncertainties that you may have in your future career path. We want to make sure that we have a lot of doctoral students and the government is providing support, financial support, so that we have many doctoral students who would want to contribute to science, technology, and innovation in Japan. We want to make sure that you can focus on your research without feeling burdened about your economic or financial situation and also on your future career paths. So we will be providing explanation about that. And so please decide. You can apply for both the fellowship as well as the project, but both are a bit different. Therefore, please try to understand which is better for you and apply for both or for whichever one. So thank you very much. That's all from myself. Thank you very much, Professor Kanda. So now, about the Advanced Human Resource Development Fellowship, we have Mr. Tanaka.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me? Yes, we can. Thank you. Now let me start my presentation. Advanced Human Resource Development Fellowship for Doctoral Students is the topic of my presentation. I am Tanaka, in charge of administrative part of the fellowship program. You have the English version on chat. Is URL. You can refer to the English version for your reference. And the English version has the same page number with the Japanese presentation. Please move on to the next page. Under the fellowship program, what are the kinds of support you can receive? And also, the students who are adopted, we request you to follow the study program. And that is mainly what I like to talk about. Moving on to page 11. Now, this is the fellowship program for advanced human resource development. The objectives and past history is what I will explain now. As Professor Kanda explained to you earlier, we would like as many excellent students as possible to be developed, and under the next, there is a fellowship project for the creation of science and technology innovation. And we, from Tokyo TEP, we have applied for advanced CPS2 Human Resource Development Fellowship. It was accepted. CPS2 is to work on cyber, physical, and social systems. Using computer technologies, we will analyze, conduct the analysis in order to achieve smart society. We would like innovation to be developed, and we would like to develop human resources to enable this. All the students, the entire of the entire school will be the target for this program. The slide shows the history of the fellowship program. In February 2021, it was Tokyo TEP was adopted for the MAX project, and in spring and fall 22 fall, spring, and this year for spring, for 5 terms, we have recruited the fellowship program students. In the meantime, in March 2022, we had 6 adopted and 14 adopted, accepted in the 14 had retired from the program, and then 14 were newly adopted in 2023, and the 6 withdrew, and the 6 was adopted in 2022 March. Now, for the new students, we are conducting the inviting application for the next term. Now, January 2023, please look at that line on the slide. Later on, there will be an explanation for the another project, cross-the-border project, Tokyo Tech Pioneering Doctoral Research Project. It was also accepted. And next year, both the fellowship program and the cross-the-border project will be together as one project. So next year, there will be an invitation for application for one project for both purposes. Therefore, this term, we are inviting the fellowship program application for the last time. And 2025, by the end, we will have this program. So specifically, this program is budgeted until March 2026. Moving on. Now, the application process and the schedules will be explained in more detail later on, but roughly speaking, the application is accepted before the end of May, and after the review and selection, the announcement of the accepted applicants will be announced on July 12th, and this will be an internal announcement. The official announcement will be made after the students join in full, and we plan to accept 12 students. Now, let me explain to you about the details of the fellowship funds program and what you find in the parenthesis. 2.5 years at the longest is the supporting period. That is because the program is budgeted for the next 2.5 years. Now, specifically, what programs do we have? The first is the Research Dedication Support Fund. The support is for living expenses. 150,000 yen will be paid on the fixed day of every month, paid into the bank account the student will specify. The next is the research fund. Annually, 300,000 yen is the maximum, and because you're joining in fall this year, it will be 150,000 yen for 2023. This is the fund to be used for all the expenses needed for your research activities. And your academic advisor is going to be the budget manager to allocate the fund. The purchase of the commodities, the devices, and all the unnecessary supplies is what this is going to be paid, used for. Tuition fee exemption is the last. During the time you're accepted as a fellowship program, the entire tuition fee will be exempted. Moving on to page 15. Next, those of you who will be accepted in fellowship, we would like you to become the doctoral students that we would like to see, and you have certain fellowship activities as obligation. One is that you dedicate your research activities according to the research plan. And that is not just because you are accepted in the fellowship program. The second point those are the requirements specifically to the fellowship students. In the fellowship program, there are various study programs, and you'll need to complete them. And there'll be more detailed explanations in subsequent section slides. Now, the progress of the study program is to be reported twice a year. Also, with your guidance faculty, you have to have interview. That's also twice a year. That's going to be the counseling with your professor, and also you need to apply to the JSPS researcher. Let me explain to you more specifically about the fellowship study program, page 16. The study program is intended to enhance your research capabilities, and also this relates to the career path for your future. The slide shows the activities that we would like you to engage in for research capabilities. And in the fellowship study program, we ask you to know that you'll need to talk to your mentors, but all other activities are necessary for all our students to engage in. That is to participate in the study meetings, in, the seminars, and other activities. From all these programs, in order for enhancement of research capabilities and career paths, you need to pick up certain items. For each item, specific explanations or the objectives will be explained in more detail in the explanation seminars after you're officially accepted. Now moving on to page 17. This is the explanation for career path. After you become a doctor, you have your doctorship. For career path, we ask you to participate in various opportunities with business people. Also, you are to experience the internship. Also, you need to take the education programs to think of your careers. in the future. This is the explanation about the fellowship program for career path. But in addition, we ask you to engage in promotional activities to explain about the doctor courses to younger students, because you would like as many students as possible to participate in the doctor course, and you are to engage in promotional publicity activities. All the items I explained to you for career paths and research capabilities, these are all the activities that will be useful for any students to be in the doctor program, not just in the fellowship program. So we want you to engage in these promotional activities. Now, Advanced Human Resource Development Fellowship for doctoral students. I have explained to you the activities we ask you to engage in once you are accepted. Now, the study design, the operation, and the fellowship faculty activities. The slide shows the fellowship committee, all the faculty members who will be involved. Now, we are in the secretariat, and we are ready to answer all your questions. Also, the events and various activities, the fellowship programs will be able to attend. We also remind you of the due dates for reports. We will be sending you the information update via mail. That's all from me. So this is the fellowship program, and we have research funds, the dedication funds, and exemption of tuition. These are the three type of the economic supports. Also, we have career path support and research support. We collaborate with various departments within the university, and also with the Alumni Association, we receive cooperation in carrying this program out. That was a brief explanation of the Advanced Human Resource Development Fellowship program for doctoral students, and we invite you to apply for this program. That's it.
Thank you very much. And I'd like to move on to the explanation concerning the cross-the-border pioneering doctoral research project. We have Vice Project Officer Professor Iwasawa to explain about this program.
Thank you very much. I am Iwasawa, Vice Project Officer for Cross-the-Border Project. And the project officer of this is Professor Kanda, and I would like to explain to you the intention we have in putting together this project for cross-the-border. More specifically, Ms. Agari will explain to you in details, but from me, I would like to explain to you what we expect you to achieve by participating in this project. Now, this cross-the-border project for doctoral students, in principle, we would like to offer the economic support and career path support for our doctoral students. This is the common aspect with the fellowship program. But in the cross-the-border project, as you find here, we would like to have our students have specialized skills and transferable skills, both. Developing an individual with these capabilities is our intention. All of you who are listening to us, in terms of specialized skills, we are not concerned, we are not worried, because I'm sure that all of you already have sufficient specialized skills, and you will further develop your skills in school. So we're not worried about that. But on the other hand, such transferable skills, that could be a question, and you may wonder what it means by transferable skill. The transferable skill means that you'll be able to engage in activities with people who are not in the specialty that you have, being able to communicate other people. For example, your parents or people that you know, you need to be able to explain your specialized skills to non-experts. But once you're in the society, you will need to negotiate or explain to people outside of your specialty areas what you do, what research you have, what you do. You'll need to be able to explain that to people outside. And by depending on the level of understanding of your listener, you'll need to change what you explain, and you'll need to be able to make the adjustment once you are in the society. And that's the type of skill you to learn once you are what you can do once you are in the society, in the workforce. And that's what we like. That's a skill we like you to acquire. Now, what is the meaning of a cross the border project? There are 2 points, and let me explain to you what we would like to achieve. For one thing, we would like you to be able to move out of the box, because if you engage in research activities, you tend to stay in the box. Of course, concentrating in your research is an absolute necessity, especially when you want to have your doctorship. But in order to develop the transferable skill, you need to be able to move outside of the box of your laboratory or your own area, maybe outside of Japan, outside of your countries, to be able to move out and develop your skills further. By doing so, you'll be able to establish links with other people. It could be the human communications, the human-to-human links. That will be a treasure for your activities in the future. So we would like you to actively engage in the activities to be able to move out of the box. And another is to break the barriers of your expertise, collaborate with people in different fields, and develop transferable skills. Engage in collaborative research with people in different fields, very different from what you have. It may not be quite a collaborative research activities, but you may want to be able to communicate with people in other areas, other fields, other specialties to further enhance your activities. And by doing so, you will also be able to develop your transferable skills so that in the future, you will be able to make contributions to change the society and broaden your choices for your career path. Now, going out of the box, breaking the barriers, what is most important in this project is that once you're accepted in the project, we would like you to engage in off-campus study plus for the minimum of 3 months. You need to remember this. This is very important. If possible, we would like you to go outside of the country. Working in different culture is going to be a very important experience for you. So that's what you would like you to challenge off-campus study. But if going outside of the country is difficult, go to other universities in Japan, engage in collaborative research, or could be in internship activities in companies. But we would like you to be outside of your laboratory for the minimum of 3 months. 3 months or longer, if possible. Also, there is going to be a financial support for travel expenses. So we encourage you to engage. 3 months of off-campus study plus is the first requirement. We encourage you to challenge and break your own barriers. Now, the more specific requirements will be explained by Ms. Agari. That's all from me. Thank you very much.
So thank you very much. We now have Ms. Agari from the Promotion Office for Education Programs to explain about the Cross the Border project. So the details will now be explained by Ms. Agari. Yes, I am Agari from the Promotion Office for Education Programs, and I would like to explain about what support will be provided, especially focusing on what is a bit different from the Advanced Human Resource Development Fellowship. And the details could be found in the application guidelines as well as the web page for Cross the Border Pioneering Doctoral Project. And we also have an English page for this, so please refer to the web page. Now, in this project, we have two different financial support. One is all successful applicants will be receiving research incentive grants. This is provided to support your living expenses so that you can focus on your research. It's a monthly payment of 150,000 yen, 1.8 million throughout the year, and it will be provided throughout your support period. Once every month, this will be transferred to your bank account, and you do not have to report on how you utilize this fund. The second one is support for research expenses, and there are three different types. The first one is all successful applicants will be receiving this research expense, 400,000 throughout the year, 1.2 million throughout the support period. And as an additional research expense, you have the support for pioneering research initiated by the Next Generation Plus. Those who want to apply will go through a screening, and once a year, 700,000 yen will be provided to successful applicants. So it will be 2.1 million throughout the support period. And the last one is support for off-campus study, for example, travel fee. This is the off-campus study plus. And just like the Next Generation Plus, if you would like to apply, you would go through a screening, and then the successful applicants will be decided. There is no limit to the number of times you can apply, or no upper limit for the support. So you can apply as many times as you want. So these three research expense support, unlike the research incentive grant, it is not going to be transferred to your bank accounts. It will be implemented at the university side, and you will have to use it within the academic year. And you cannot carry over anything that was not spent, and you must report on how the fund was used. Now, based on this, if you become a successful applicant, what kind of support you will get? I would like to give you some specific examples. So during the support period, all successful applicants will be receiving research incentive grant and research fund. The incentive grant is 5.4 million altogether, and research fund is 1.2 million. So over the 3-year period, you will be receiving a total of 6.6 million yen. So if you can look at the top case, this person, during her support period, she applied twice for the off-campus study plus 1.1 million altogether, and also applied twice for the Next Generation Plus and received 1.2 million yen for that. So over the 3-year period, she has received excuse me. So in this case, over the 3-year period, in addition to the basic support, she will be receiving 8.9 million yen. And the bottom case is where the off-campus study plus was applied for one time, 1.2 million yen, and also additional research fund, the Next Generation Plus, applied 3 times, 1.6 million altogether. So over the 3-year period, this person has received 9.4 million yen in it, together with the basic support. So we want people to take challenges and carry out research and focus on your doctoral studies. So we provide this order-made type support for your research plan. Now, about the obligations of the successful applicants, as Professor Iwasawa has explained, in this project, the successful applicants will have to make sure that they acquire transferable skills in addition to highly specialized skills. So you have several obligations that you have to fulfill, as was explained earlier. For the Advanced Human Resource Fellowship, it's common, but During the support period, you have to go for more than 3 months of off-campus study. So as the name indicates, cross the border, you have to go outside of your lab or the university and gain experience in areas outside of your specialty. So altogether, during the support period, you have to go off campus for more than 3 months. So based on your research plan, maybe in your first year, second year, or third year of doctoral study, maybe you can apply for a short-term study off campus for 1 month each, or you might decide to go overseas for 6 months during your support period. And also for the travel fee for this, as I explained earlier, you can apply for the off-campus study plus to gain additional support. However, if you take leave during your off-campus study, at that point, you will lose your qualification as a successful applicant, and therefore you will not be able to receive support beyond that point. Also in this project, once a year, we have a workshop. And at the workshop, the successful applicants will be required to acquire transferable skills, and therefore all applicants, successful applicants, must take part in this. And information about events as well as the subjects that you need to take will be uploaded to our webpage. It will be renewed as necessary. So please take a look at the webpage. Event information will be provided through the webpage as well as through email. Now concerning the application this time. So for the fall of 2023, we are looking at hiring 15 students, and the project period is 5 years. So for new applicants, for the 2023 students, this will be the last time that you can apply for this. So please do understand that. Now, about how the selection will proceed. In this project, first we have a preliminary screening, which is a document review. And depending on the result of the document review, you may be exempted from the second screening, which is an interview. So the second screening, the interview, will take place. And in the interview is necessary for this project only. So by June 29, Thursday, the Secretariat will email you. Please make sure that you not miss our email. And we will not be contacting people who are not subject to the interview. And the interview will be taking place on 4th and 5th of July from 1800 to 2000 on Zoom. That's 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. And the Secretariat will indicate which time you are to take part in the interview. So make sure that you have this in your schedule. And this is a 10-minute presentation that you need to make for the interview. And please refer to the application guidelines on the details. So that was about the cross-the-border project support. Thank you very much, Ms. Agari. And continuing on, she will be explaining about what is common between the fellowship and the project. Yes, thank you very much. Now I'd like to explain about the fellowship and the cross-the-border application and schedule. So what I explain here is common between the fellowship and the cross-the-border project. So first, the application guidance is provided for the fellowship as well as the project. Please refer to the webpage for each of the fellowship and project. Now, how to apply? you need to use the web format, and you need to apply through the web. And also, you need to provide some documents. So you have to apply through these two methods. You need to do both, through the web as well as documents to be submitted. And if you miss out on either one, it means we will take it that you have withdrawn from the application. So for the fellowship and the cross-the-border project, the formats are common. So if you want to apply for both, you only need to apply once to apply for both of these systems. You do not have to apply separately. So the web format, as well as the document submission, the deadline is May 31st, Wednesday at noon. And you need to make it by the deadline. Please make sure that you apply in time. Some points to be careful about. So with the application form, you need to also submit a transcript of master's degree. This transcript has to be the latest one. So please make sure that it indicates the transcript from the previous year. Now about the screening. So the screening will be done separately for the fellowship and the project, even if you applied for both. And for the cross-the-border project, as was explained earlier, the secondary screening will be an interview. And the interview will be done on the dates indicated in the slide. And if you are to come for the interview, the secretariat will email you about which date you need to come. And we cannot adjust the interview date. So please make sure that you schedule in the interview. Now, the announcement of the selected applicants. The successful applicants will be announced on noon, July 12th. So for each of the fellowship and the program, the successful applicants will be announced through our web page. Therefore, please review the web page. Especially if you have applied for both, you have to look at both web pages. And if you are a successful applicant, right after the announcement, we will ask you whether or not you will withdraw. And how to respond to this will be explained on the web page after the announcement of the successful applicants. Please make sure that you check this, and please make sure that you respond in time. If something happens that you disqualify for the application, we need to make sure that you go through certain procedures. Therefore, if you no longer qualify for the scholarship, please contact the secretariat. Now, after the announcement and until the finalization of the applicants, if there are people who withdraw from these programs, we will announce the additional or candidates. The secretariat will email you or contact you through phone. So please make sure that you can be contacted through email or telephone. And lastly, the finalization of the successful applicants. After this is announced, actually this will be announced on the web page of each of the fellowship or program. And the announcement date is October 3rd, Tuesday of 2023. So please make sure that you look at the web pages yourselves and confirm. So if you are a successful applicant, after the announcement, we will ask you to register the bank account to receive the research incentive grant, and we will ask you to submit a copy of your bank book. And concerning how to submit these documents, we will notify you through email from the Secretariat. So please make sure that you check your emails. So that is all from myself. If you can look at the next page. If you have any questions, you can ask during the Q&A session. And also, through this web page, we have a inquiry format which you can use. And these are indicated in the web pages for the fellowship as well as the program. So thank you very much. That's all from myself.
Thank you very much, Ms. Agari. Now, before we move on, there's a request that you answer our questionnaire for improvement in the future. After you exit from the Zoom, please fill out the questionnaire, or rather, the questionnaire form. And if you are leaving early, please make sure that you answer questions about this meeting. Now, we'd like to move on to the Q&A session. Moving on, as we have explained to you earlier, you can ask your questions to our Q&A box. Use the Zoom function to send us your questions, and we are still accepting your question, but please understand that we may not be able to answer all the questions because our time is limited. Also, the questions that we discussed today will be answered verbally, and we will also send you the responses via chat. So if you miss any part of the discussion, you can check with the chat, and any questions will be translated into Japanese. But please understand that the Japanese translation on chat will be an automatic translation via system. Now let us start the Q&A session. I'm going to pick up some of the questions. And the question is whether you can receive the materials for the presentation. And we plan to upload all the slides at a later date. Now moving on to receiving your questions. Agari-san will answer the next question. The next question is whether there is a support for tuition fee for the cross-the-border project students. Well, for the cross-the-border project, there's no support for tuition fees. Please understand. Thank you very much.
Moving on to the next question. I think this is common for both programs. So Agari-san, I hope that you can explain, and after that I will ask Tanaka-san to explain. So I am not applying for fall 2023. I am applying for spring 2024. Will both programs be ended by then, or will there be some other system that I can apply for? So let me answer first. For the Advanced Human Resource Development Fellowship, as I explained, fiscal 2025 will be the end date for both of the programs. But people who will enter next year, already MEXT has plans for a subsequent program, but right now, MEXT has not given explanation about this subsequent program. Therefore, we do not know yet about what kind of financial support can be provided. I hope to have your understanding on that point. Any additional explanation? It's the same with the fellowship. It's the same. Thank you.
ありがとうございます。
Thank you very much.
それでは次の質問に
Moving on to the next question.
こちらは、フェローシップ
This is about the fellowship, and we ask Tanaka-san to respond. The duration of the internship required in the fellowship program, how long will it have to be? Please respond. Thank you for the question. The longer the better, but of course it depends on the company or the business. The duration that is necessary is what we ask, because this is for the collaborative activities. It depends on the partners, and there is no minimum requirements for the internship period. Did I answer your question?
ありがとうございます。
Thank you.
それでは次の質問に移ります。
Moving on to the next question.
いい質問と講師の
And this is for both of the programs. And I believe the answer will be common, so I'd like to answer this.
成績証明書が
The transcript that must be submitted, can this be a PDF that has been scanned? Yes, it could be a PDF format that you have scanned.
では次の質問に移ります。
So moving on to the next question.
次の質問はあかりさんの方からお答えいただきます。
Agari-san will respond the next question. For the cross-border project, is the duration for the support the same as fellowship, and will it be 2.5 years?
理工系、立教型理工系博士1年
For the cross-border doctoral research project for 2023 fall students, 3 years is the support period according to our plan.
はい、ありがとうございます。
Thank you very much for that.
先ほどいただいていた質問に、かなりちょっと重複するかなと思います。
Maybe this question is overlapping with a previous question, but maybe Agari-san or some other person can answer this. But for 2024 spring, people who are entering to the doctoral course from spring 2024, what kind of support system will be available? I'm sorry. Yes. So what kind of support system will be available right now? So I think Professor Kanda explained a little bit about this, but Tokyo Tech has some specific support systems. So these will be available from spring 2024 as well. So this will be continuing. So you will be able to apply for these scholarships and support systems.
ありがとうございます。
So thank you very much.
次の質問は、
Moving on to the next question, and I will respond. This came in English.
質問です。こちらに対しては、一人の学生は両方の制度に応募
Apply to both of the programs, the fellowship and cross-the-border project. And if you apply, when you apply, you only need to submit one transcript and one application for both. But when you apply, you must specify which is your first requirement. What is your first choice? Or which one is your first choice is what you need to specify when you send in your application, but you can send to both.
少しちょっと質問の意図が分かりづらいので、回答が
And the next question, it may be difficult to answer, but let me try to answer.
About the students applying and residing outside Japan. 日本国外に住んでいる学生についてもう少し。
So, applying and residing outside of Japan. Right now, if you are residing outside of Japan, when you enter our university, and at that time, if you are living in Japan, then you can apply for the fellowship as well as the project. I hope that answers this question.
Moving on to the next question. We ask Professor Iwasawa to answer the next question. Which one? The one in English. I wonder if there's some connection between SSS and this project, or they're just or two projects separate. Let me, Iwasawa, answer. SSS stands for the system for the excellent the doctoral courses, and the systems are very different from SSS and the project. However, there are common aspects in the projects. Also, we have SSS unique activities, and we collaborate with SSS. So, if you plan to be a part of SSS, we ask you to discuss well with SSS, the people, and obtain information about the requirements as you are in SSS. Basically, there are different projects, but we are closely related and in collaboration. Thank you.
The next question, I would like to answer the next one. It came in English.
Update of my master degree academic transcript in June, just after the deadline. So could I submit the current transcript with one item missing? という質問です。成績証明書
So concerning the transcript submission, if you cannot make the deadline, if there are reasons that you cannot meet the deadline, please
に記載をいただいて、
write that into your application form.
このミッシングというのが、
So
どこまで指しているかを
you say one item missing. I'm not really sure to what extent items will be missing. If you can send it in by the deadline and then renew it later. If there are reasons why you cannot make the deadline, please contact us, and we will also be able to explain how to
質問に関して
deal with this situation.
田中さんからお答えいただきます。
The next question will be answered by Mr. Tanaka Fellowship. In fall season, what is the number of applicants for the fellowship, and what's the percentage of acceptance? Thank you for your question. Well, we are checking the numbers right now. Please give me more time so we will know specifically what will be the number. Thank you very much.
では次の質問に
Moving on to the next question. The question is in English.
お答えいただきます。
So, Agari-san, can you answer this one?
How to apply for tuition exemption after applying for cross-border cross-border プロジェクトの申請後の授業料免除。
So this is about the exemption for tuition, how to apply for this. So actually, you have to go to the student support department to apply for this. And concerning how to apply, you will be able to get information through the university webpage. You will be able to find information about how to apply. So we hope that you can contact the department in charge through the webpage.
Thank you. The next question. Either Professor Kanda or Professor Iwasawa will respond the next question. This is also a question in English.
These companies, after finishing doctor study, if accepted by the scholarships, というご質問です。
Let me answer the question. The project is originally from JST, and this is the program to support students who can contribute for the Japanese science and technology in the future. So it will have to be a contribution for Japan, but it does not directly mean that it has to be a Japanese company. You could work for foreign companies and you can be a bridge between the foreign countries and Japan. But this is the decision is to be made on case by case basis.
Thank you very much. I'd like to answer the next question. This may overlap with the previous question, but it's in English.
Students living outside Japan are not eligible to apply at this stage. という質問です。日本語の方もすみません。なかったのでお送りします。こちらに関してはですね、
Well, as was explained earlier, even if you live outside of Japan when you apply, it's okay. But as of October 1st, if you are living in Japan, you have to be living in Japan as of October 1st.
Next question. I'll answer this question. This is also in English.
My Japanese bank account later. という質問です。こちらに関してはですね。
Now, let me answer. We ask you to open a bank account in Japan as soon as possible, but if you cannot make the bank account by the deadline that we decide, please consult with us. And if there is a delay in opening the bank account, the incentive fund or for the fellowship as well, the payment may be delayed. But even if there is a delay in payment, if you live in Japan, for the time you are here, the payment will be made going back to the date. For example, in November, you may be able to receive the payment for October and November. That would be acceptable. But for details, please consult with us directly if that is the case. That's my answer.
The next question, I think Professor Iwasawa can answer.
Five fields of research. Does my research plan need to fall into one of the field listed? という質問です。よろしくお願いします。
So when you apply, you have to choose one of the 5 fields. Maybe it doesn't really match your research plan, but for the 5 fields, we give some examples. Therefore, please refer to the examples and find the field that best matches your research plan and apply. It doesn't have to be a perfect fit, Please choose the one that seems to fit best.
Thank you very much. I think we are running out of time. And I know there are 5 more questions, so we'll try to answer all of them. The next question will be answered by Professor Iwasawa. Question is in English.
Ourselves for cross-border overseas research という質問です。よろしくお願いします。
Well, you will have to consult with your managing professor, faculty member, and follow his or her guidance, or you may want to make the decision. But this is the point, you need to have a very good discussion with your managing faculty.
ありがとうございます。
Thank you very much.
次の質問も岩沢先生。
The next question also, Professor Iwasawa, and maybe Ms. Agari can add some comments if necessary. It's an English question.
For the 2 programs, if so, what do they focus on effectively? Such as research plan ということです。お願いします。岩沢先生の方でお答えいただけますか。
Professor Iwasawa, if you can answer this question.
今、岩沢先生もしかしたら外されてるかもしれない。
I think we have some network problem with Professor Iwasawa. So, Ms. Agari, if you can answer this question. For the criteria for selection is different for the 2 programs. Basically, for both, we focus on the study program and research program. That will be the focus of the selection, basically.
ありがとうございます。
Thank you.
次の質問に
The next question, I hope that Professor Iwasawa is back. As we apply, do we need approval or recommendation form from our guiding teachers? Recommendation paper is not needed, but your faculty member will have to sign the study plan, or your advisor. You need to consult with your advisor very thoroughly as you apply. No need for recommendation form. Approval is necessary.
次も岩沢先生の方からお答え
Once again, Professor Iwasawa, concerning the and for the fellowship, maybe Agari-san can add if necessary. This is an English question.
preferred research theme to be accepted in the program. For example, the big data and AI research for advanced program. ということです。よろしくお願いします。
いや、希望研究テーマ。
I don't understand what you mean by preferred research theme. Please indicate what you want to research and explain what it is that you want to pursue and send in your application based on that.
ありがとうございます。
Thank you. The next question, I believe it's common for both projects.
あがりさんお答えいただけますか。
Agari-san, can you please respond?
修士課程の成績証明書
when we submit the transcript of master's degree, do I also need to attach transcript from the time I was an exchange student? Well, if you had been an exchange student, the transcript is not a requirement at the time of application. However, if you had been an exchange student and if you want to appeal that point, then you can add, and we may use that information as one of the reference. Thank you.
And so I think this is common for both programs, but so we can apply for both, but should we choose a program that best fits myself? Should we choose between the two, considering which is better for my study? Well, I do not understand where the question is coming from, but for each program, the support that is provided and the obligations for the student are a bit different. So please consider your research plan and decide which program is better for yourself. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is going to be the last question, and I will respond. The transcript of the results, do I need to submit the undergraduate transcripts? And the answer is no, you do not have to. Now we answered all the questions. May I? I'm Tanaka from the fellowship program. About the fellowship, the number of fellowship applicants in fall last year, there was one question. Actually, the number of applicants is not made public. We do not disclose the information. So we cannot tell you, but about between 50 and 60 applications came in. That's my answer.
Thank you very much for that. So with this, we'd like to end the Q&A session. If there were, I think we have answered all the questions. I think we've covered all the questions, but if there are further questions, as was explained earlier, please utilize the inquiry form and send in your questions. And finally, we'd like to ask you for your cooperation in answering the questionnaire, which will appear once you exit from this Zoom page. So thank you very much, and we will be waiting for your application.